She took her time and put effort into every single piece of
Okay.
that performance. I miss the days when we ran to the television to see the music video.
It was something to look at.
They,
We
tr-
was looking
it
forward
was,
to it. But what do you think changed that?
I don't know if it was people getting lazier or there being a lack of interest in really developing the artists in that direction to really, care about more than just the streams.
I think it's just focus and allocation of funds, honestly.
It had
Yeah.
enough, bop to it to where we can enjoy
Yeah.
ourselves and then they not turn their nose up at
But I feel like with Kurt, it gave you just enough
it.
of
Just
both
enough.
sides where it wasn't like, oh my gosh, is
Hmm.
this Jeezy or is this gospel? Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Pretty Suited Reactions. I'm your host, Lauren A, and I am joined here today by a guy that I would consider to be a close friend, my homie, my home skillet, my best friend, actually. Today, as always, we are going to react to some of the hottest topics and legends and iconic moments in music. And so I'm joined here today by the wonderful, the amazing, and sometimes annoying my brother, Esoteric. Hey, Esoteric, how you doing?
Hello, hello. How you doing, sis?
I'm all right. I'm all right. This has been a long time coming. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like you've always supported me in the pretty suited endeavors, which I'm, extremely thankful for. But I just wanted to have you on today because, nobody does banter like you and I. Nobody has these kind of conversations like you and I. So I felt like this was like a good time to kind of bring people on board. Now, y'all, my brother, he don't get in front of the camera like that. So be kind to
At
him,
all.
okay?
At all. This is not my thing.
But when
I'm
I tell
behind the
you,
scenes.
absolutely. But when I tell you, there's very few people that I know, and I consider myself to be a music head. I consider myself to be a person who consumes all kinds of music and who likes to have conversations about the industry and things like that. So, this guy here is definitely a music guy as well. He has literally been in music or been doing music since we were this high. We're gonna get into all of that stuff too, but it's just that although he's, not necessarily always in front of the camera, he's always behind the camera, making magic happen, working with some of your favorite artists, and you would definitely know his name in the near future. Thank you for joining me today, brother.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It is
Yeah,
a pleasure for sure.
yeah. So, I mean, today I really kind of just wanted to have a conversation with you because you'll tell everybody as soon as I saw the BET Awards happen, this week, you were the first person that I called. Like,
Absolutely. We were texting during it, actually.
yeah, like it,
Yeah.
it was just like, are you seeing this? Like, what are we doing here? Like, are you seeing this? And I could not wait to kind of like have these moments with you, so we could talk about like what just happened. And now when this
Hmm.
airs, it might be a little bit after the BET Awards, but I don't care. I still want to be able to, provide my reaction and kind of have this talk with my big brother. So, first let me start off by saying, when we were growing up, my brother was outside. I'm just gonna say
All the
that.
time. Not like, whoa, 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 whoa. Not like how they describe outside today.
That's true. That's true.
We talking
He
about
was
playing
but he was in the
basketball.
street though. He was in the streets though. You came home smelling like a wet dog, like you was in the street.
I was active. I was an active child.
Okay. Well, nevertheless, coming home, while he was outside doing what he does outside, I was in the house reading my Harry Potter, watching TV and all the things. But either way, when he came home, when we both got a chance to actually come together in the living room after school, the first thing that we were actually watching outside of course, Pokemon and wrestling, whatever Robin
Dragon
had me
Ball Z.
watching, whatever
Absolutely.
SO had me watching back in the day. Yes, Dragon Ball Z. That's why I like all this stuff now, because I'm tomboying now because of you. But nevertheless, but one of the things where we definitely made sure we made an effort to sit down and talk about and watch was 106 in Park.
For
Like
sure.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It
For
was something
sure.
that us millennials, we could not wait to get home. And, we was watching since, of course, AJ and Free, which were the OGs,
The OG
right?
OG.
OGs. And then, as it transcended into a different kind of show with different hosts, which we'll talk about soon, it was just one of those things that kind of made us fall in love with music, from the
Hmm.
countdowns to the industry. So tell me, what was your experience like? How did that kind of prompt you? And actually, first of all, tell us about who you are. Tell us about what you do, your title. Just give them a little bit background information about you.
Yeah. I like to think I'm a jack of all trades. My name is Esso. I go by the name of Esso. I am a songwriter, engineer, producer, vocal producer, dot connector, if you will. I like to think I'm an A&R at times. I'm trying that hat on, see how it fits. I've worked with some of your favorite artists, Coco Jones. I've worked with Fabo. I've worked with Eric Bellinger. I've worked underneath my brother and mentor, Troy Taylor. And I've had the opportunity to sit in, though I didn't get the placements, I've had the opportunity to sit in sessions with Ant Clemens and Hit Boy and Tink and Hitmaker, you know, Josh Levi and man, A. Marie, like I've had the opportunity to literally sit in these sessions and be a fly on the wall and kind of learn from these individuals and kind of how they craft their ideas and just their creative process. In a nutshell, that's who I am.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the list goes on and on. I've been super proud of you over the years
Thank
with
you.
just the not just who you work with, because people can name drop all day, but the
Hmm.
integrity that you've kept along the way. You've been doing this for a very long time. And
Yes.
as my brother, just being annoyed with you making all that noise in the closet while you were recording all of that stuff, to actually being proud and being willing to like spread the word and just be amazed at how you've grown as a songwriter, over the years. So I'm just super proud of you, and I just wanted to brag on you a little bit, give off your
Thank
accolades.
you.
But you're a greater man, than your accolades. But I'm proud
Thank
of
you.
those too, for sure, for sure. So, going back to the beginning, like as far as like how 106 Park inspired us throughout the years, how did you feel when you first like saw the countdown and you just was able to see the cultural impact of 106 Park?
Man, I think it was different for me. I had a chance to enjoy it as a consumer, but more so I was studying, right? Because I've always had aspirations to be the artist, to write the songs, to be in that and in the music industry at that time. But to see it from a creative, it moved me in ways that I didn't necessarily see happen among my peers because I was the only creative one. Everybody else wanted to be outside and play basketball and everything else and chase girls, and I was more so like, yeah, no, I want to sing or I want to write. But what it did was, and this is I'm dating myself, of course. We're talking about OG, 106 in Park. It, everyone knew where they were going to be at a certain time, right after school, every single time, right? No matter if
Yeah.
you was outside playing or not. When 106 in Park came on, we were in the house
Yeah.
in
Always.
front of the TV. And then social media wasn't, we didn't even have social media back then. So then the
Mhm.
next day, you notice the trends at school were a little different. If you saw Ashanti wear her hair, or when Bow Wow came on the scene, right, and he had the spray painted shirts and the Mickey Mouse chain, you see the guys with the braids, and I'm like, oh, this is dope. So it did so much for the culture in so many ways that I don't even think we really realized until now we're looking back at it. When certain videos aired, or when New York was really heavy and everybody wanted to be Dipset, and you had the 50 Cent G Unit tank
Hmm.
tops, and
I'm
you
talking
know,
about what was we
yeah.
doing with the tank
I
top?
have I have no listen, I've always been slim. I shouldn't have been in
Yeah.
nobody's tank top. It wasn't it.
It
It
made
was
everybody
not
feel
it.
like they was swole.
Listen.
But other than, I mean, honestly though, BET was just such a staple. With it celebrating the 25 years of the BET Awards, of course it, premiered way longer than that. I believe it premiered in
Hmm.
like the late 80s or something like that. But like I feel like overall, when we were growing up, it was so many different shows that were outside of 106 Park. It was, Rap
Absolutely.
City. It was,
Cedar's
Cedar's
World.
World. Come on now. AI at
Yeah.
its finest.
AI
Like
at its
she
finest.
was
And she had that little
pixelated.
pixie, she had that little cut. Yeah.
Absolutely. She was pixelated
Yeah.
as a bug, but she definitely was that girl. Like it was just what it was. And so hits from the streets, like people forget about
Hits
hits
from
from the
the
street.
streets. Yo.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
From Ratchet to like full polish to, superstars to just starting, like it kind of had a range. So I kind of want to like stumble into our, the conversation of the day, which is of course the BET Awards that
Yeah,
just
yeah.
passed. Now, it kicked off with, of course, the One Assistant Park tribute. And I know you saw it. I know you saw kind of like how they recreated the set. They had the set done like it was, I think it was like the latest set. It wasn't the AJ Free set.
No, 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 no.
They didn't
The
do
AJ
that one. But
Freestyle had the honeycomb looking.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
the old honeycomb too, just yellow.
Yeah.
It didn't have no
Yeah.
depth or nothing. It was just yellow. They used
Exactly.
clip art. They used clip art for that one. There wasn't even no
That's
real.
funny.
But AJ and Free was, of course, the OGs, and unfortunately, AJ wasn't even there this time. Where he said he was on a plane or something like that, which I was
Rocky
kind of
wasn't there
sad to
either.
see. Yeah, I'm like, come on, like you gonna give me the full nostalgia? Give me the full
You,
nostalgia.
it should have given it to us like, with the times.
Oh, that would have been actually a doper kind of concept if they would have started with Free and AJ, and then kind of
Mm-hmm.
throughout the show did the different hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would have been good. See, they should have had us creative directing.
I'm
They
gonna
don't
call
know.
Tyler, somebody,
Yeah.
tell him call us.
They need to make sure call my peoples because I need 10%. But yeah, so after that you had the one. So let's talk about the performances though for One Assistant Park.
Okay.
I mean, you had Jim Jones, which he was like only about a second, but thank God for balling. That
It
was the
was
time.
needed. It was needed. Yeah.
That was the time. That was the time. They of course had your favorite King of the South.
It's the
Guy.
king. Oh, listen, what you know about that?
Like the people don't realize how much my brother loved T.I. growing up.
Listen.
I had to hide the CD. I had to literally like the King album played it religiously. And it was just kind of like to the point where it's like, Robin, you're not T.I.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm calling him Robin and he goes by Esoteric. Please forgive
that's
me,
all
but
good.
you're gonna hear both. That's just what I do. But yeah, I'm like, homeboy, you not T.I., but it's okay. Whatever. PSC, I get it. And so
Pimp Squad
he
quit.
did right, Prince Card. So he did What You Know About That. He did
Hmm.
what was it? What was the other one he did? How you gonna do that? Or something like that?
No, he did. Was it? Which what did he do?
Remember that
It wasn't
quick.
Rubber Band Man.
Either way it was a hit. It don't matter. It was reminiscent of T.I. and he did his thing. Who else performed? Of course, Marie, which
Hmm. Hmm.
Marie worked with her. You met her, before and things like that. And I love Marie. Nobody can deny that her first album
And
is a
Marie.
classic, one of the greatest R&B albums of all time. All I have. If you don't like it, I don't care. That it's just what it is.
So I want to clarify that I didn't get a chance to work with her. I was a fly on the wall in the studio. Yeah, I want to be really, really clear on that. It
Yeah,
would have
sure.
been amazing, but to be there and to see her creative process and to see her
Hmm.
like house, even still after all this time, like, and something happens with me when I create where you kind of see them become a kid again.
Yeah,
To see that she still has the fire and the passion for it
yeah.
that was amazing. That
Yeah,
was
and
amazing.
she has like such a interesting voice. She has like a voice that when
Hmm.
you hear it, you know it's A. Marie. Now, she may
Hmm.
not be known for being a powerhouse, Whitney Houston type of sound, but that's
Hmm.
okay because that was the music that she was giving us. She was giving us feel good, one thing. She was giving us, all we know is summer starts when Why Don't We Fall in Love comes out. Like,
Let's talk about it, right?
that's why we
When
here.
when when artists had their own sound, when
Exactly.
producers
Which,
had their own sound,
brother,
right?
we talk about this all the time. It's
Right? New
so
York sounded like New
annoying.
York, the South sounded like the South, Texas, the West, like everybody had their own sound. You knew when Timberland produced it or when Rodney Jerkins produced it
Yes.
or when Pharrell produced it. You know, like you knew when somebody or when Lil Jon or Lex
Yeah.
Luger, Zaytoven or one of them,
Come
you
on. The
knew when they
runners.
produced the runners,
Come on. As soon as you heard the,
the
it was
Scott
it.
Storch, the
Not
runners,
storage, like
Cool and Dre.
we were just cool and Dre. We just lost that regionality kind of like sound, and that's what made hip hop and R&B so diverse. Was that you had those real auteur kind of producers, which in film is
Absolutely.
auteuring is when you have your own specific like
Hmm.
type of style, whether it's a Spike Lee type of film. You always know a Spike Lee film when you see it, just how he
Yep.
shoots things. Same thing with producers. Like you just have
Hmm.
a core thing. But anyway, so A. Marie just kind of gave you that she was in her lane and it was a great lane. She's definitely a legend. We also had Maya perform, which we we know how you we we know how you feel about Maya Robin. My brother has a problem. Just playing.
That's crazy. A problem is crazy.
Nah, she probably gonna
I,
be
I
like,
I think she has an incredible body of work. I think throughout the years, like all jokes aside, everybody knows she's
yeah,
dropped dead gorgeous, right?
sure,
I
sure,
think I think throughout the years, her consistency in music has been amazing, and she keeps creating. I feel at a high level, right? You get artists who they kind of get stuck in the what did Cat Williams say on my wife and kids? My therapist said this was my era, right? You get
right,
artists who are stuck in that era and don't know
exactly.
how to change with the times, and I think Maya has done so each and every time, whether it's on a grandiose stage or it's for her cult following. I think she
Yeah.
has done phenomenal.
And I think she performed at a high level, even if it was a short performance.
Let's talk about
She stayed in
it.
her lane. She can dance. She was always a dancer. She didn't look like she was super winded. She didn't look like she was, having difficulty remembering the steps. Because let's be honest here, everybody on that stage has been in the game for 30 plus years. Like
30 plus.
let's be
Yeah,
honest, 25 to 30 years they have been on that stage. And so I feel like people have to really understand that sometimes you need to make adjustments to your performance level to meet where you are.
correct. And
And
and if you
read
think
between the
about it,
lines there.
I was going to say, and if you think about it, again, we talk 25, 30 plus years from when we fell in love with them.
Right.
And so where
Right.
they are now, for them to still be performing at that high level speaks volumes. I don't
Volume
even
because
know, I don't even know if some of these newer artists can do that.
let's talk about it because that's the dilemma. This award show, that whole 106 in Park segment was for the millennials who remembers how a performer is supposed to perform. We grew up with the Michael Jacksons. We grew up with the Janets. We grew up with the,
Hmm.
NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, where people were putting on performances. And we kind of like teetered into this time where, the performance ain't performing like it was. So
Yeah.
kudos
I
to
want I
those
want to be
people.
fair. I want to be fair and throw Chris' name in there too.
Of course, CB is a
Come
generational
on.
talent. Like Usher, like all of
Come
them,
on.
and I feel like this was kind of a masterclass. That whole section, Ashanti did her thing. You also had who else
Keisha
performed in that time?
performed,
Oh, and let's not talk about Mr. 106 in Park.
Mr. 106 in Park.
Like Bow Wow himself actually
Come
did
on.
his thing. Like it was no
He's a
question.
great entertainer all the way around.
Yeah,
Whether he's
yeah,
hosting, whether he's in a movie, whether he's rocking the show, whether he's in the video,
yep,
you're going to get every 100% every single time. Even
yeah.
at the Millennium Tour that just passed, I was there. Bow Wow did his big one. Breath control on cadence, like it sounded like the record.
And kudos to him for getting into shape. Because I feel like he
Oh yeah.
even was able to, you could tell in his body structure that he's toned up. You could tell
Oh
he's
yeah.
working out. And that matters as you're trying to perform in these big stages. Like you can't,
Hmm.
you have to be able, like you said, breath control, all the things. So shout out to him. He had high energy. And so we know that currently there's been a lot of conversation on social media about the difference between a star, a superstar, a megastar, and all the things like that. Like we understand there's levels to this, right? Like
So many levels.
what is your definition of a superstar, a star? Like what would you consider to be the difference?
Man, one of the goats for Taylor.
Okay.
He broke it down and he made it make sense. He was saying like, of course you have your rappers, your R&B singers, your artists, right? But a star is someone who everybody wants to be like.
Is that a star? Just a star?
Superstar,
Okay. Okay.
superstar, superstar. Michael Jackson's a superstar, right?
Right.
Everybody was dressing like him the whole nine. Beyonce, superstar,
Right. Because I feel
right?
like a star, you got the stars that are on,
You
like
got stuff, yeah,
influencers could be a star. Like
absolutely,
they have some influence over people's decisions and
absolutely.
behaviors and stuff like that. But that's not the same as, like you said, a Michael or
Hmm.
a Beyonce. You know, I would even consider
One
them to maybe even be mega stars. I think superstar
hundred
might be
percent.
under a mega star.
I don't even know I don't know the ranking, but I'm pretty sure there's somewhere around like legends or icons, like something that's
That's
just
true.
untouchable. Yeah,
That's true.
but for the sake of the conversation, a superstar is someone that everybody wants to be like, right? So if you're looking at Michael Jordan, he had everybody wearing 23, right? Allen Iverson
Mm-hmm.
had everybody with the wrist with the headbands and the
Yeah.
arm sleeves, right?
Yeah.
So in music, to segue it back, it's someone who everybody wants to be like.
Yeah. I agree.
Bow Wow
And
was
because
a superstar.
and they changed the momentum of things. I think another kind
Yeah.
of like eligibility criteria is that you're changing something within it. So, for
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
example, Bow Wow was the probably the biggest child like musician
Absolutely.
for that we've had probably since Michael. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a different conversation. You're talking about pandemonium every time he went somewhere. He was,
Every
and
time.
so you can't really argue. And I'm gonna say this.
Ooh, hold on, hold on, hold
Mhm.
on. Don't fight me. But for the
I'm gonna
sake of conversation, would you put Soldier Boy in?
not as big as Bow Wow.
Not as big as Bow. Not as big as
No.
Bow. I'm talking about as far as the superstar. Because mind you, people were drawing on their glasses. They had the rubber band necklaces. They had the bathing apes.
Also think that time, the run has a part to play. Soldier
Okay.
Boy didn't have as big of a or big or successful of a discography that Bow Wow
Fair.
did. So
Fair.
I think that's the only reason he did have a moment, right? I mean, just like a lot of people who come in the game hot, like whether it's Lil Nas X or whatever the case may be, like you have people coming in hot and you have influence. He was the one, of course, let him tell it, the first to do everything. He was the first to do ringtones. He was the first to, which he was. Let's not get it
Uh,
twisted. I'm not
a
trying
lot
to
of what
get
he's
the
saying is
story about me.
crazy. Yeah, a lot of what he's saying sounds crazy, but there's some validity to some of the things that he is saying.
Sure. But as far as
Yeah.
like music, his actual discography and people purchasing and him selling out arenas and stuff, I think that yes, he was very influential. Yes, probably the most influential when it comes to technology and music. But
Okay.
Bow Wow kind
That's
of
a
was,
key. I'm glad you said that though, because
yeah.
I've had that conversation with others. And when I say, and I'm not going to say any names, but when I say there's a certain company that actually owes him, I feel a portion, quarterly, yearly, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
however you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think so because he is, I feel, majorly responsible for a lot of their success and what virality is today.
I, I'm not arguing with you there. I'm not. And so he probably could have been included in this 106 and Park segment because that definitely was a
I,
moment in
I think
time.
he should have been,
Yeah,
but
for sure. For sure. But yeah, so Bow Wow did his thing. No qualms about that. Oh yeah, and we can't forget about Keisha Cole. Keisha Cole definitely was there and she did her thing.
absolutely. I feel she should have done the song that we all wanted to hear from Keisha.
What is
What?
that, love?
Nah, absolutely. Now, whether or not she likes performing it is something different, but that is her biggest record.
That's true. That's true. And I think she also performed it in Glorilla's set though. She did a version of it in Glorilla's set because Glorilla
Okay.
sampled the
Yeah,
song.
she
So
did.
she did like a little segment in the beginning of that. But another person who is starting to adjust her
Okay, I'm
notes.
sorry. Why didn't she? Oh, never mind. There's controversy around that song. Never mind. Keep going.
Yeah, and she's another person that, is adjusting her notes because, again, if she made love, she probably was what, 25 years old, 22 years old. You're a grown woman now, you kind of have to make some changes, but she still sounded amazing. Let's kind of segue into, of course, the biggest part of the evening that everybody just, and thoroughly enjoyed, including myself, and that was Jamie Foxx's tribute.
Man,
Well deserved. Such a legend. Such a legend.
Jamie is the reason why, a large part of the reason why I make music the way I make music.
Talk about it.
When I'm able to get in my bag, because granted, of course, the homie V Script told me, when people are asking for fish sandwiches, give them fish sandwiches, right? Don't start throwing in chicken because then they're gonna be like, "What is this? I want fish. I came here for the Krabby Patties. Why are you trying to serve me pizza?" You
Right.
know? And so a lot of times I find myself still enjoying myself, but making fish sandwiches. But when I'm able to make a shrimp po' boy, I get in my Jamie bag, right? And so the Unpredictable album for me was kind of where, now he had an album before that and it was good for that time period, but
Right.
when
Right.
when I tell you I played that Unpredictable album out so bad, I would sing whenever I would like go for an audition or something, like I would sing
Mm-hmm.
from that album
Yeah. And he was so
100%.
multifaceted. It's not even funny. Like Jamie had he's a multi hyphenated individual, probably one of the most multi hyphenated individuals we have today. Like the
Absolutely.
way he's able to sing, the way he's able to act, the way he's able to do comedy and kind of tie it in, into everything, into a bow. Honestly, if you checked out his specials in the past, they had all three in the specials.
And they were chef's kisses. I might
Yeah,
need security.
yeah. But let me tell you, when he accepted that award and Stevie Wonder was in the, I'm not, why you got, see, I shouldn't even be laughing. But the way Steve was like, how did Stevie even see him to give him the award? I'm not gonna do. Steve is a legend, okay? But that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Steve Bell, that
I
was
don't know
so.
what, something's wrong with that.
Stevie knows the jokes. He even said it so many times, like, like look at me, like he was.
Yeah.
He knows that we don't think he's really that blind. We he knows the joke, but it was
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious that he was standing behind Jamie, like Jamie was like, okay, thank you,
Yeah,
Stevie.
trying to wrap it up. Come on. Trying to plan.
I was tickled. I was
Stevie was
so
not
tickled.
playing.
But yeah, but let's talk about the songs though, like the people he had to give him the tribute.
Man, I
Like,
I appreciated it.
okay,
I appreciated it. We've had some tributes in the past that I think they could have shuffled some others around.
sure.
Um, and we don't know if it was based on availability. We don't know if it was based on, whatever. But I think in the past when they've done these tributes, it could have been done a lot better. I think this one was done well.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's probably one of the greatest ones we've had in the past, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
I
Like,
won't argue.
honestly, this was the best BET award that we've had in the
Oh,
past,
by far,
probably 5, 6, 7, 8,
by
10
far.
years. And I think a lot of it had to do with how much thought and checkbook that they threw at this to
Hmm.
have everybody there so that they can celebrate. I feel like, unfortunately, when it comes down to tribute, Stone, you kind of end up seeing the same people. Like, is that a telling to just the lack of talent or the people who are versatile enough to sing?
Let's talk about it.
I don't know.
I think it's a combination of the both. It's unfortunate because we have such great talent.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times they go overlooked, and I don't know if it's politics, right? If
Hmm.
somebody might have stepped out of line and it rubbed somebody the wrong way, and so now there's like a
Yeah,
personal
that's true.
vendetta, or if in fact, excuse me, they're not the fan favorite. You know, I don't. It
Yeah,
could be a number of things, but I would like to see them switch it up. There's
yeah.
a there's a quite a few people I would have liked to see pull that performance off, the tribute off, but I'm not mad at who they chose at all. I think they did great.
I think so too. I think them throwing in Miles, I forgot his last name, Canton, Stanton, something like that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from Sinners. That wasn't the Jamie tribute, but of course he sung on the
Quincy.
Quincy Jones tribute.
Hmm.
So we had Miles, you had Lucky
Lucky
Day, and
Wolf
then
Jam.
we had Wolf Jane. We know Wolf can tear it up.
Listen,
It's no
Luke.
ifs, ands, or buts.
You know, I'm biased when it comes to Luke. Luke has one of the greatest voices I feel,
I feel
texture, tone, range of this generation. Now you got your
I
Avery
do.
Wilsons. I'm not gonna argue that. You know, you got
Sure.
your Durans. I'm not gonna argue that, but Luke is different.
Yeah. And I think all three of those men that you named can sing their throats off. They can sing anybody under the table. But I also think that each one of them carry a certain range and tone
Hmm.
that differentiates them, right? So Luke
Hmm.
James, he has that soul, that what's it called? Howlin' Wolf.
Yeah.
He could do Johnny Gill, he could do Jamie, he could do, like I said, Howlin' Wolf. He has a big range when it comes to his
Hmm.
voice.
Yeah.
It just sounds a bit more soulful. Then you have, of course, Avery. Avery has that churchy, same with Duran, where it's like it's a
Hmm.
lot of vibrato, it's a lot of
The
like I said,
runs are
gospel.
ridiculous.
The runs are
The runs are
insane.
ridiculous. I had a chance to listen to Avery Wilson at the
Mm-hmm.
90th birthday tribute to Quincy Jones out in LA and LA Bowl, the Hollywood Bowl. My man can run
Yeah, up
like
and
it
down the street.
up and down the street, around the corner. Like he is it some people have it and then some people have it.
Correct.
And
Correct.
his voice is incredible.
Yeah. And I feel like going back to Jamie's tributes,
Hmm.
Tank is one of those people who they call for a tribute. He has the ability to,
Absolutely.
and with him actually have working with these people in the past makes it even better. He's worked with all the
Absolutely.
legends.
Hmm.
He's your favorite singer's background singer. Of course, the legend Kenny Babyface Edmonds, he made it. I got a chance to see him in
Absolutely.
concert not too long ago in Connecticut, and when I tell you how many hits that man has,
It's
it's
dumb.
sinful. It's sinful how many
Yeah, it's
hits.
crazy.
And when he went down his list, I was almost disgusted. Like, how is this not? How is he not on a Billboard statue somewhere? This man has literally the whole '90s. Any R&B song
Yeah.
that came out in the '90s, he had
He did.
he wrote it. He was in the studio, produced
He
it.
produced
From
it. He did
Tony
something.
to everybody, Boys to Men, Tony, everybody. But he did his tribute. It sounded kind of interesting, I would say, because you're not
Hmm.
used to Kenny Babyface Edmonds. I don't know why I have to say his whole name. You're not
You gotta put
used
some
to.
respect on it. That's
You gotta
why
put some
you said on
respect
that
on
whole,
it.
yeah.
Exactly. I gotta say the whole government. So yeah, it's kind of different hearing Kenny's voice on a Jamie Foxx song because they don't have similar kind of tones. But it's an honor even within itself to have him be there
Man,
and
to
do that
play
for
it
you.
and sing it,
Absolutely. Like Jamie was folding. He was
man,
collapsing under,
yeah.
like,
It's Babyface.
right.
It's Mr. Go do that over there.
Like
Yeah,
what you talking, and then he'll say it in a tone that's like, "Are you upset? Are you mad? Are you happy?" I don't. He stay right here the whole time. Every
whole
time he
time.
speaks, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that. But yeah, but last but not least, that of course legend Dougie Fresh came out. Teddy Riley did his
Hmm.
thing
Hmm.
on the
Oh, that was dope.
talk box. Yeah,
Yeah, that was really dope.
that was
That
dope.
was really
T-Pain
dope.
even hopped out. Yeah, yeah. But I really want to talk about Jennifer Hudson. Like the thoke on this woman is out of this world. She is made for that type of song. That was called Night and Day, I believe is the name of that song. her throat is made. That sounds crazy. Her voice is made for that type of song. Like we talking about real, like old 1950s, corn fed. We go to the church, they got no AC, like
No
that kind
shoes
of
on.
throat. No shoes on, sweating with the church fan. It's hot, it's
Yeah,
humid, that kind of voice.
yeah. Tambourine, no drums.
Tambourine,
Your hands and
no.
feet are the percussion.
She cooks good collards, okay?
Yeah,
That kind of a
yeah,
voice.
absolutely.
Everybody in there was laid out, standing on their
Yeah,
feet. It was because you could recognize again, no shade to anybody, but when real talent comes into the room, it has to be respected. It's
has
not.
to.
It's undeniable. It's
Yeah,
undeniable.
yeah.
And so shout out to her for letting everybody, reminding everybody what real talent sounds like. So what was your favorite part after the tributes?
Man, I'm a sucker for artistry, right?
Okay.
And I want to uplift everybody, but then there's somebody I want to rise a little bit higher, and that's
Yeah.
Tiana Taylor.
Oh,
Favorite part of the man, she took her time and put effort into every single piece of
okay.
that performance. Now,
Yeah, sure
granted,
did.
the Android, that was
Yeah.
the highlight, but Tiana Taylor, I've been excited about Tiana since the beginning. And
Mm-hmm.
then she was in and out, right? She was in and
Mm-hmm.
out, and it was like, oh, she's cool. Oh, and then she started to come into her own, and she really became the Rose of Harlem.
Yeah.
And she doesn't stop, right? She started doing choreography, and then she got into acting a little bit more, and then now she's back into music. And I want to see this rollout.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited to see this rollout
Yeah.
because she put so much time and effort into her art. I really want to see how this is gonna roll out.
Yeah. One thing I appreciate about Tiana, of course, we know she has many talents. She's been in
Hmm.
front of this camera since the Sweet 16. Like we knew she was a star then,
Dang, that is
right?
absolutely, yeah,
Throwing it back, right? I'm a
yeah,
real millennial.
yeah.
Like
We real old is what
we were
it's giving.
whatever. That's your mama, okay? But
It's your mama.
it's my whatever. Sometimes, anyways. But the what I appreciate about Tiana too is that her eye in film. You know me. You know I'm a movie
Hmm.
buff. I
Hmm.
love film. I love the construction of film, the aesthetic of film. That's one of my talents that I would love to develop and even work with her one day on those things because her eye for camera work, and you could tell she's been inspired by many different directors like, Tarantino, Del Toro,
Hmm.
like all the
Hmm.
things. And so I appreciate her kind of pushing the envelope on the artwork that she puts out there. It's not just your run of the mill,
Come on.
sitting and crying in the rain, which is dope. We need some crying in the rain R&B
Yeah.
nowadays. Don't get it
Yeah.
twisted. But I feel like she does do a great job of kind of like going outside of the box and, not only caring about the music, but caring about how it looks visually. So,
Oh man, I, I
yeah.
I miss the days
Hmm.
when we ran to 106 in Park, or what was it, TRL, or
Yeah.
whatever these, I miss the days when we ran to the television to see the music video.
Hmm. It was something to look at.
They
We
tr-
was looking
it
forward
was
to it. But what do you think changed that? What do you think changed that kind of like focus?
I'm not quite sure. I don't know if it was people getting lazier, or there being a lack of interest in really developing the artists in that direction to really, care about more than just the streams. Or I don't even know when that started.
Right.
Because I mean, even if we talk about T.I. and the What You Know About That and the Rubber Band Mans or the whatever, like they put thought into those videos.
Yeah, but you
It
also
may have,
had more of a budget though. Don't you think? Like with the major labels, they kind of put more budget, and I think they significantly cut how much they're going to
yeah,
spend on these artists.
I won't argue that either. I
Yeah.
think that's a valid point, but I don't know when that trend started, but I miss the days when they
Yeah.
put forth the effort in like or there was a music video and it was like a to be continued, even if it was
Right.
like a Jagged Edge where the party at, right? That was
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't too much to it, but it was a great video.
It was a good
Nonetheless, it was a
time.
great video, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or the more well thought out videos, you know, how you have like your Busta Rhymes, it was a little more elaborate, a little
Right.
more dramatic, you know, where he's running down the hall and it's like a,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Fish-eyed
but it,
lens. Yeah.
yeah, you know,
Yeah. I
I
don't
wonder how we could
necessarily
get
think
that back.
it's I wish we could. I don't think it's necessarily due to lack of, people who are creative, because I feel like people are always going to be creative. I think it's just focus and allocation of funds, honestly, with streaming being what it was for so long, and the focus being more so on getting quantity out there, and kind of like, having a social media presence and all that. I think you kind of took away from the development, like you said earlier, of the artist, and that includes building the brand, that includes the visuals, that includes telling the story. So it's sad, but I definitely want to see it back, and that was evident. I
Yeah,
think it's coming back. I think Kendrick and,
the
and
tides are
Drake,
changing.
the ties are changing. The ties are
Hmm.
changing for sure. Lastly, we got to give a shout out to, probably, in my opinion, the best performance of the night, which was Kirk Franklin. People slept.
Okay.
People actually, I'm sure that they tuned off by that point, because this show was about 5 hours long. It was it was definitely
There was a lot
long.
of black excellence
It was
to
a
be
lot.
displayed last night. I mean,
You're
that night.
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
But it was long. So people went to bed. They had to go to work the next morning. But Kirk Franklin ended the show with a bang. When I tell you, that man is a performer, we talking about performances. He was high energy. If he could sing, we would be in trouble. Like, he
Yeah.
can really put on a show. His choir was dancing, they were singing, they were harmonizing, and they took it back to stomp. Like,
Yeah.
the first time we heard that, like, what are we doing? Like,
Kurt is a gem, man, and I think, not I think, from what I've heard, he's gotten a lot of slack early out from
yeah,
kind of blending, fusing hip hop with gospel.
yeah,
But it was genius because he got families to listen to be able to agree on something. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And that's and it's gospel music, right? It's music with a higher message, soul saving music, right? I think when he did that, and I joke all the time and say like he's kind of like the DJ Khaled of or Jay-Z of gospel music, right? Because growing up, we couldn't listen to certain hip hop songs in the car. We
No,
couldn't dare
not
play, you know,
yeah,
not at grandma's house or nothing like that. But if you put
no,
on Kirk Franklin, it had
yeah,
enough, you know, bop to it to where we can enjoy
yeah,
ourselves and then they not turn their nose up at.
yeah. And that's true. I think he teetered the line. He was the first one to really teeter the line between the two
Mhm.
genres. However, I feel like we might be more on the other side of the spectrum these days, where it's a little bit, depending on who you're listening to, more
Yeah,
of a blur. But I feel like with Kurt, it gave you just enough of
just
both
enough.
sides, where it wasn't like, oh my gosh, that is
Mm-hmm.
this Jeezy or is this gospel? So it's
Jeezy
not
or
that
Jesus.
bad. Yeah, come on now, Jeezy or G. That's a good album name right there. Anyway, so but I feel like Kurt did a phenomenal job in doing what he did, and it actually tore the house down, and it made everybody shout. He is just amazing, and it was a great end to that show. It's
Yeah,
so many things that happened during that show. We don't even have enough time to get through it, but I will
yeah.
say this again, that it was probably the best BET award show that
Oh
we've
yeah.
seen in a very long time. And I hope that they keep that up, that kind of caliber of
Yeah.
quality up. I don't say you got to run up the bag every time, because we did see too that every category was sponsored by somebody. So we know that they're getting ads and things to
Hey,
make it
keep the
happen.
ad dollars coming in though. Because I mean, why can't the BET Awards run with the Oscars or the Emmys and
Yeah,
the Tonys and have the same culture. Like I
yeah.
don't I enjoyed it.
I
100%
thoroughly
enjoyed
enjoyed
it.
it, and I hope
Yeah.
they keep the young folk. I love the influencers, but keep them all for the show. It was like years where the whole show is just influencers, and I'm like, who is that? Who are we talking about here? Why am I didn't even watch because I didn't know nobody who was performing or in the
Yeah.
performances. I just didn't know, and it wasn't
I get it.
it
Yeah.
wasn't tailored to my audience, if you want to say that. So, what are you doing right now? Like, as you said that you are doing so many different things, multi hyphenate yourself. What are you working on right now?
I've been here recently. I've been working on a lot of sync. We wrapped Eric's album. That was fun. The Afro Beats project.
Afrobeats,
That was
okay.
really, yeah. He went on tour. It was a really good tour. The turnout for those who know Eric Bellinger is your favorite singer's writer,
Right.
right?
This
For
gonna
so
be a
long.
thing. I know.
You
Absolutely.
know, like, Mr. This gonna be your favorite song, right? From
Yeah.
Fine
Yeah.
China to you name it, right? The man's pen is all over. And I'm excited because I get to watch him, step into his own, and no pun intended, but it's all making sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Him being able to do this at a high level, that's another performer.
Yeah.
That is another performer. And each and every night he's gonna sing and he's gonna perform and he's gonna give
Mm-hmm.
you hit after hit after hit after hit.
Mm-hmm.
And his shows are packed and sold out, you know.
Yeah.
But working with him has been a pleasure. Currently I am working on a lot of sync stuff. Had a recent placement in The Thickest Survivor on
Mm.
Netflix. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. Congratulations
Um,
again on that one, man.
Thank you, thank you. I have a few more things that are coming on the pipeline I can't really
Mm-hmm.
talk about, but it is a children's movie that everybody loves and enjoys. And
Mm-hmm. We'll leave it right there. We'll leave it right there. We don't want you to get the sauce away too soon, but I know it's gonna be great. I know it's gonna be
it's
great.
pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
Okay.
Outside of that, just locking in with artists and recording. I had an opportunity. This It's going to be really good. The homie Hero reached out to
Mm-hmm.
me and asked me to be a part of his R&B Is Not Dead project. Now
Mm.
there is a lot of intention behind this project, and
I think I've
I
seen
think
some of this on social media.
it's gonna. I've heard I've worked on like 4 or 5 songs on this project.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has a bunch, like 40 something songs that were recorded during this time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still recording, I believe. But I think if the songs that I've worked on make it awesome, but I heard some
Yeah.
smokers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wasn't Gail Bean in that movie that you were talking about? Gail Bean and Tristan Wilds, Mac Wilds?
Both you talking about Both Eyes Open?
Yeah.
Yes, we worked on the soundtrack for that one. We did 3 records on
Okay.
that. Yep,
Awesome.
we
It's
did
Gail
that.
Bean, right?
Yeah, Gail Bean,
Okay,
absolutely,
I just want to make sure
absolutely.
that was her. Yeah, dope. She's dope too.
Hey man, awesome, really, really awesome,
Yeah.
and a pleasure to like really. You know how you get to talking to some celebrities and actors and
Mm-hmm.
actresses, and it's like, oh, it's not nice to meet you. She's a
Yeah.
sweetheart, like
Yeah.
down to earth, like
That's
really, really
dope.
down to earth. Yeah, kick your shoes off and have a conversation type of
Right.
individual. Yeah,
And I
really, really
love
dope.
Mac Wilds. I'm a fan of his music. I've loved all his albums.
Man,
I still they're in heavy rotation today. So I'm
yeah,
glad that you were able to work with some really, really talented individuals and some of this stuff. So that's awesome.
absolutely. It's been a pleasure, man. All glory to God. I
Yeah.
tell everybody who asks, because everybody asks, like, how did you get started and how did you, man, it's all God. I
Hmm.
had put one foot in front of the other and I prayed and I was like, hey, if this is for me, let
Yeah.
me know. And if it's not, I'm okay with that too. And he's been opening door after door after door.
Absolutely. Well, lastly, what would you consider to be um probably the greatest advice you've received when, as a person, a songwriter or somebody working in the industry, what was the greatest advice you would think that you received to kind of be in this industry and kind of navigate it?
You want me to be honest with you?
Yeah, of course.
It's gonna sound cliche, and some people may watch this and be like, "Oh, okay, keep God first."
Can't go wrong with there. Can't go wrong there.
There's so much that comes with this. There's so much that comes with this to
Hmm.
breaking in the industry, staying relevant in the industry, right?
Hmm.
Whether you're on the top of the top or you're on the bottom of the mountain, there's so much that comes with it. And if you do not keep God first or have some type of true north or some type of something foundation, man, you'll this industry will eat you up and spit you out
Yeah,
and move
you're
on to
not
the next best
lying.
thing.
And just
Yeah.
managing and keeping that integrity in the process while everybody's kind of doing their own thing, kind of doing things that
Mm-hmm.
you may not agree with or whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
but just trying to make sure you're holding your own integrity
Mm-hmm.
and foundation and morals and keep, like you said, keeping
Mm-hmm.
God first. That way he could steer you in the right direction. Because if you leave it up to us, we gonna mess up, we gonna fail, we gonna
Every
trip
single
up,
time.
so it's hard to do, especially when it's all surrounding you at all
Mm-hmm.
times, in that kind of a thing. So shout out to you for that. How can people find you, like, and learn more about you and kind of like follow up on all the works that you're doing and all the great things?
Yeah, I am hard to find. I'm just kidding. Um, you can find me on IG at SO_TERIC. Um, I don't have a Twitter. I
That's
don't.
okay. Twitter's
Um,
overrated now. It's
yeah,
literally like a cesspool of people who are just hating. It's just you don't need one.
absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, on there you can follow me. I follow back. I am accessible. I do message. There's people all the time hitting me up like, "Hey, can you listen to this song?" Or, "Hey, what do you think about?" I'm always, if you're willing to receive, I'm willing to give information.
That's important. Gotta be
Yeah.
able to take constructive criticism.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, we can talk for hours about all kind of things related to music. It's late, so I ain't gonna hold
It
you.
is
I
late.
ain't gonna hold you. But anyways, it's been a pleasure, brother, as always. And you always welcome to come back, kick it with me, and talk about some things because it's always some good stuff coming out.
Hmm.
And just always, talking about your stuff too as you kind of roll your stuff out too. I would love to have you back on. And yeah,
Absolutely.
what's the final word you want to get to people?
Man, be you. Everybody else is taken. Be
Come
you
on.
and be confident in you. The best part of you is you.
You can't say it any plainer than that. We'll leave it right there. I appreciate your time today and thank y'all. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Pretty Suited Reactions as well as Pretty Suited Podcast, where we just discuss iconic TV and film and music. So, as always, you cannot manifest anything you feel like you don't deserve. So, create the life that you want and look to the sky for grace. Bye bye.